Demons have a problem, and it's with their identity. Or rather, their kind of confusing and troublesome identity. I mean, how many times has a poor demon been mistaken for a devil? It has to be countless, and I imagine demons are pretty sensitive about it. But what do I mean when I refer to a monster's identity, and why is it important? The identity of a monster refers to its essential characteristics, the qualities that make it distinct and recognizable. This identity encompasses a monster's behavior, lore, role in the game's ecology, its core fantasy, and the feelings it inspires in players when they encounter it. A monster's identity is defined by both narrative and mechanical elements, and it shapes how the creature fits into the world and interacts with adventurers. The clearer a monster's identity, the easier it is for players and DMs to understand how to interact with it and what it brings to the story. A monster with a strong identity gives players context and thematic depth, making it more than just a combat challenge. It becomes a memorable piece of the game's world. For me, monster identity is an important part of RPGs. You don't get iconic beholders, mind flayers, or ancient dragons without them having a strong identity. This is one of those things where having a shared idea amongst the community can propagate a shared experience and increase enjoyment of a game. So, with that established, what is the demon's identity? The demon's identity is characterized by chaos and destruction. Demons exist outside the bounds of order and control, and embody wild chaos and drive to unravel reality itself. Demons are chaotic evil in its purest form, and taken to its logical extreme. Motivated by an overwhelming impulse to destroy rather than to rule or subjugate. They lack any form of central organization or adherence to rules, making them less interested in manipulation and more focused on absolute direct chaos. They exist only in direct opposition to order, thriving in a state of pure anarchy and devastation. This chaotic essence makes demons forces that cannot be reasoned with or reliably predicted. Their purpose is not driven by ambition or calculated schemes, but by an intrinsic urge to unravel the very fabric of reality. A demon's presence is inherently disruptive, bringing about decay, corruption, and breakdown in ways that feel senseless and uncontrollable. In a campaign, demons represent an existential threat to order and reality itself, embodying a kind of evil that seeks to eradicate stability rather than control it. This is contrasted with their counterparts, devils, who are representative as a lawful and calculated evil with long-term schemes. The devil will deceive, but never lie, and will manipulate you into your own destruction, one that you end up unwittingly choosing. The demon, of course, takes a much more direct approach and destroys you with chaotic and terrifying might. No tricks or deals needed here. Where devils might patiently lay traps or cultivate allies to achieve their aims, demons are far more likely to charge into battle, unleashing as much havoc as possible without concern for consequences. This difference highlights demons as a force of nature in the game, embodying a mindless, almost primal kind of evil that feels unstoppable and unpredictable. And it might help to better understand a demon if we talk about what it truly means to be chaotic evil. In contemporary terms, a creature or character's alignment describes a general outlook, and the lines are pretty blurry. It's much more about vibes than anything, but this wasn't always so. In the earlier editions of D&D, alignment didn't just represent outlook, it represented what side of a cosmic conflict you were on. Alignment was initially inspired by the writings of Michael Moorcock, and in Moorcock's multiverse, chaos and law are two opposing yet morally ambiguous forces. Chaos embodies change, freedom, and individual choice, but it also brings anarchy and lawlessness, the kind that allows for unrestrained acts of violence. Law, on the other hand, promotes order, stability, and harmony, yet also brings stagnation, oppression, and even fascism. Most of Moorcock's stories are about his eternal champion, a personification of balance and a character that aims to keep chaos and law in equilibrium. Because if either one of law or chaos were to be triumphant over the other, it would be pretty awful for the creatures and people that reside in that multiverse. From this foundation, we get the concept of a chaotic evil demon, beings that embody pure entropy and destruction without regard for life. And just as Moorcock's ideas of order versus chaos influenced D&D, they too influenced another hobby shop staple, Warhammer. However you feel about the game, it does do chaos demons right. Warhammer treats chaotic demons as they should be, entities that live to corrupt, consume, and tear down the orderly world. In Warhammer, chaos isn't just a moral failing or a personality trait, it's a primordial force that lurks in the hearts of mortals, waiting to drag them into oblivion. I mean, look at this guy. No thought in his head, just having a great time spreading pestilence. Same with this guy. No thought, just fight. And this bird guy, well, this one has lots of thoughts. Maybe too many? In Warhammer, chaos corrupts anything it touches, from mortals to gods, creating a world in constant conflict, where survival itself is a form of rebellion against the ever-encroaching darkness. Dungeons & Dragons multiverse isn't quite as bleak as that, but I hope that's a helpful example for what you should be aiming for in the portrayal of demons. So let's get a little more into two other things that prop up the demon's identity. The Abyss and the Demon Lords. Demons are born of the Abyss, their home realm that defies conventional order and thrives on absolute anarchy, a place defined by disorder, unpredictability, and primordial chaos. The Abyss itself is vast and layered, with each layer embodying a different aspect of malevolence and corruption. The Abyssal Lords further reinforce the core identity of demons, each becoming a symbol of the extreme, warped aspects of reality or emotion. Figures like a Demogorgon, Orcus, and Gratz are not only physically powerful, they each represent an extreme form of chaos that underscores the essence of the Abyss. Demogorgon embodies the primal madness that lurks within all sentient creatures, his two heads constantly at odds with one another, representing a duality that never reconciles. Orcus, as the Lord of Undeath, corrupts the natural cycle of life and death, seeking to draw everything into a state of unnatural stasis, where life can no longer flourish. Gratz, with his seductive charisma, represents desire twisted into something unrecognizable, where pleasure is inseparable from pain, and allure hides corruption. Each of these lords, while powerful in their own right, does not aspire to establish structured domains in the way devils might. Instead, they revel in distorting, manipulating, and destroying, each in their own chaotic manner. Through them, the identity of demons as beings of pure chaos is solidified, as they serve as the living embodiments of the Abyss's unpredictable and corrupted influence. In this context, demons stand apart from other villainous entities within D&D's multiverse. Undead are driven by a hatred of life, often seeking to consume the living and expand their own twisted forms of existence. Aberrations, meanwhile, frequently originate from alien realms with purposes that, while strange, are guided by a certain alien logic or survival instinct. Demons, by contrast, have no regard for control, calculation, or preservation of any structure, including their own. They represent the ultimate destroyers, creatures who seek absolute freedom, even at the cost of obliterating everything around them. In their chaos, they aim for the dissolution of all, pushing existence itself toward anarchy and formlessness. This level of unpredictability, coupled with their primal drive for chaos, gives demons a distinct place among D&D's enemies. They are not conquerors, but harbingers of unmitigated chaos, pushing relentlessly against the very fabric of reality. In practice, the way demons are used in D&D campaigns often misses their chaotic essence and unpredictable nature. Too frequently, they are reduced to straightforward combat encounters, brutal and violent, but lacking the wild unpredictability that should set them apart. Instead of evoking the sense of cosmic horror and formless chaos suggested from their lore, they come across as mere obstacles with high hit points and damage output, lacking the terrifying instability that should make them unique. Though known for unbridled destruction, many encounters feel routine, merely exercises in battling waves of mindlessly destructive foes. While technically chaotic, this destructiveness lacks depth and variation, presenting demons as beings that charge, attack, and destroy in a predictable pattern. Which is the trap with demons, and of course there's plenty of combat encounters where you just need your monster to predictably charge and attack. But when you want the demon to take center stage, and you want the demon to help fuel the theme and emotion to your campaign, it's critical to embrace the chaos. True chaos should be dynamic and unnerving, leaving players guessing. The issue worsens as demons are often used interchangeably with other infernal threats, like devils or undead, which dilutes their identity as agents of cosmic anarchy. Instead, they risk blending into a generic evil outsiders category, defined only by a lust for carnage. This portrayal diminishes their impact, missing the opportunity to make them enemies that disturb player characters mentally as well as physically, embodying the threat of absolute world-consuming chaos. When demons are portrayed simply as another infernal threat, they lose the thematic edge that makes them unique. Rather than inspiring dread through unfathomable chaos, they become just another adversary. By reducing demons to mere destruction, campaigns lose the existential fear and true unpredictability that should make an encounter with demons feel like a brush with cosmic horror. So that's the problem, the trap with demons. Now what's the solution? To reinforce the unique identity of demons in a D&D campaign, It's essential to create encounters that showcase their core essence, unbridled cosmic chaos that defies player expectations and the natural order. Demons should be forces of reality warping chaos that affect not only the battlefield, but also the player's perceptions, environment, and even their understanding of cause and effect. Imagine a demon's presence warping the laws of physics and magic itself, causing spells to misfire or change in unexpected ways, or even creating pockets of gravity that alter the trajectory of projectiles and the movement of characters. Such encounters would instill a sense of true unpredictability, as players never know whether a demon might act, vanish, split into multiple copies, or even twist reality around it. Demons are a good way to continually change the conditions of the test, as some might say. Demonic encounters can also reinforce themes of corruption and unnaturalness, embodying demons as literal forces of anti-life and anti-nature. An excellent example, and one of my favorite creatures, is the Cybriox, who's a grotesque mound of flesh, attacking with squirting bile, contaminating aura, and an ability to warp the flesh of player characters. To make encounters with demons truly unforgettable, it's important to go beyond typical descriptions and immerse players in sensory experiences that reinforce the horror and unpredictability of demonic encounters. Descriptions should strive to appeal to all senses, creating a visceral and unsettling atmosphere that feels different from any type of enemy. The soundscape, for instance, can play a powerful role. A demon's presence might be accompanied by an eerie silence, punctuated by strange, distorted sounds that grow louder and more chaotic the closer the party gets. In one moment, players might hear echoes of tortured screams. In another, whispers in language they can't understand, perhaps with voices that seem to belong to people the players have encountered before. Scents can be equally evocative. The air is suddenly filled with nauseating mixtures of sulfur, decay, or rotting flesh that intensify as the demons draw near. Playing with players' expectations adds further layers of unpredictability. Demons should appear subtly at first, as hidden corruptions in the environment before revealing their true nature. Psychological tactics, illusions, or shapeshifting could throw players off balance, making them question their own senses and adding a psychological horror element. To reflect the core chaos of demons, the environment in which they appear should be equally unsteady and unpredictable, emphasizing that demons are agents of raw reality warping energy. These encounters should make their surrounding world feel as if it's on the brink of collapse, with time, space, and natural laws bending under the demon's influence. Shadow shifting sounds distorting before escalating into more extreme effects. Time might stutter, with players repeating or skipping moments. Or spatial dimensions could distort, with distances suddenly expanding or contracting, making the battlefield feel surreal and unreliable. By warping the reality and the game around the encounter, DMs can create the sense that demons are entities that defy all structure, allowing players to feel directly impacted by the chaotic energy that defines demons. And most of what I said focuses on a demonic incursion to the prime material plane. But what about portraying the abyss itself? To convey its chaotic nature, DMs can depict the abyss as a constantly shifting, sentient landscape that defies any logical layout. Paths twist unpredictably, distances warp, and structures collapse and reform, making it impossible to map or control. Each layer has its own horrifying features, but none truly remain static. This reinforces the idea that demons exist outside natural law, at odds with any form or order. Using the abyss as a setting emphasizes the overwhelming dynamic nature of demons, with the environment actively resisting control. Familiar spells may misfire or have altered effects, like fireballs that freeze or healing spells that cause temporary mutations. The landscape shifts in real time, creating maze-like, unstable surroundings. Environmental hazards, such as gravity reversals or sensory illusions, disorient characters and enhance the sense of chaos. By embedding these elements, the abyss becomes as unpredictable and hostile as the demons themselves. Portals to the abyss should be significant threats. Adventurers might need special precautions or powerful items to navigate the abyss and find what they seek, underscoring the dangers of entering this realm of chaos. For encounters with demon lords, emphasize their roles as archetypal symbols of emotions and forces that go beyond ordinary understanding. Each demon lord should serve as a horrifying representation of an extreme aspect of existence, amplifying qualities like rage, death, or desire to a level that is monstrous and unforgettable. Demogorgon, for instance, could embody an endless cycle of rage and internal conflict, represented by his two constantly warring heads. In an encounter with Demogorgon, players might experience waves of inexplicable anger or confusion, subtly influenced by his divided mind. Orcus, as the demon of undeath, can embody the rejection of life itself, tainting everything around him with a sense of decay and death so profound that nearby creatures feel themselves weakening, as if their life force is being drawn out. Gratzt, representing desire and allure corrupted, might appear in forms that constantly shift between beauty and horror, creating an atmosphere where pleasure and revulsion become inseparable. Such portrayals turn each demon lord into an iconic, nightmarish figure, ensuring encounters with them feel like symbolic confrontations with universal concepts distorted into something monstrous. In these ways, the core identity of demons is solidified, making encounters with them feel more like cosmic disruptions than simple battles. Through intense sensory experiences, scenarios that defy player expectations, and an abyss that reflects pure chaos, demons are transformed into entities that challenge not only player characters' physical strength, but also their mental resilience and grasp on ordered reality. By layering these elements, DMs can make encounters with demons unforgettable, embodying the essence of unbridled, anti-cosmic chaos that defines their nature. Ultimately, to make demons distinct and memorable, they must be portrayed as beings whose presence in the material plane is a direct affront to order, stability, and nature. This is the essence of what it means to encounter a demon, facing an entity whose chaotic essence is both an assault on the senses and a reminder of the fragile boundaries between order and oblivion.